Uh, Evening, Daryl. It's uh, it's 8:17 at night. It's still the 26th of December 2023. I caught your evening vid. Yeah, normally I go I don't do the things normally a young man should. And if they're that much hooked up on social media and watching all these things being brainwashed, man, we really do got a problem. So do the parents. If they're like over 18 at this point, I don't know. Maybe we are running into a generation that's going to be really going to be having a hard issue, especially with the politics we've got today, running things off left and right, trying to tell us we have to believe in this and that, or otherwise. I kept thinking back to a certain warning somewhere in the Bible, New Testament, on that one. I think Christ was trying to tell people, beware of false prophets. And right now we are running into that kind of situation, aren't we? Hang on, my dog wants to go out again. She always picks out the wrong timing for this one. I never got into those kind of videos. I never got into those other things where it's like, I got to ask you, Daryl. I got to ask you point blank on this one. And I'd like for you to give me an answer on this one, either by putting it into the comments or a video would be better. We got to have conversations. How much reading did you do when you were young, or did you come across any movies that you might able to find some kind of comparisons what's going on these days? Before I did the thing there, I was seeing my dog walking around over here, and I wanted to find out what was going on with her, but she's just walking around over here just to walk around a little bit. She threw me off. This is throwing me off. Kind of reminded me of a few things I wanted to throw as an example. There was an old movie about, I said it on a roof, Pied Piper. Back in the 50s, they made this one. Uh, Mid to late 50s, I think. It was a colorized fantasy thing. They made a lot of them back then, off of old stories that were written back in the 1800s, 17, 1800s. They made them into theatricals. Dealing with the Pied Piper of Hamlin, I think. The town got infested by rats. They heard of this one piper with a magic flute or something like that would take the rats out, lead them away. Pied Piper had this scam going on, this grift. He didn't want the children. Either you want the gold or you want children. Town was too chintzy, and they wouldn't pay either way. Rats came back. Piper took his revenge. If I'm trying to remember the story correctly on this one here, he took the kids, left the rats. In the movie, there was this one lame kid. There was this one lame kid who couldn't keep up with everybody, and the Piper wouldn't take him because he was lame. The lame kid tried to follow. And I'm remembering part of the movie here. And the kid pounded on the rocks when the door closed. And Piper led all these kids to this magical land, but then formed some kind of large cave. Kid was gone back to tell the elders about it. I wish I remember what the hell the ending of the damn film was, but those are part of the things I remembered concerning about the storyline itself. It seems like we've got these Pied Pipers out there doing a hell of a grift on us, on the youth. You were correct concerning about the technology. We're both chewing the same time dirt, so to speak, in the same era. I remember the electronic games when they came out. I was just barely getting into the teens. They already had Pong. They already had Pong in stores. They already had Pong in homes. Atari was getting out there. And not to mention the stand-up games. And Mattel Electronics was doing all these handhelds. A television was doing a larger version of it. I remember having that damn monster from hell. Game Boy didn't come out until the 80s. So we both chewed the same dirt in that kind of aspect. And yes, when you wanted to be interested in a girl, you'd go out to where they hung out, usually at the malls or movie theaters or some places like that, and call up, make dates, go out to the theaters if you wanted to, or to the mall just to hang out. You'd meet them in school. You had the physical contact. If they were interested in you, fine. But if they weren't, don't call us, we'll call you. Maybe. Yeah. I had my fair shares of avoidance like crazy. Well, I was a scared kid during those days. What did I know anything about it? Ma wanted to tell me. I didn't want to know anything about it. I wanted to stay the hell away from it. But yeah, we would have the physical contact. We would have the phones, and we would call, try to talk. If it was in school, if I were going to high school or going to college, in between classes, passing notes. These days, everything's electronic, digital. Malls are dying. That kind of era had gone. We were the last. Now it's just digital. Even the adults in our age and a little older are going through that. Reluctantly, but they're going through it. Dating apps out there, social media, Messenger, TikTok, whatever they got out there, they're doing it. There's even scams out there trying to lure kids, lure them from one place to another place, and they're getting in trouble because here comes the predators. So yeah, I keep my ears open on that one there too, because we also have Amber Alerts going on. I also see it on the news. So yeah, it's out there. And no, I haven't gone onto social media in those kind of areas where I promise you this and I promise you that. Yeah, I stay away from all that crap because I know it's all that crap. I'm old school. You're old school. That's why it's harder for us to understand this new thing that traps them and puts them away. Even there was danger when we were doing it in person, because we didn't know whether or not to trust this person or not. There's no way to trust him electronically, and there's no way in hell to trust him in person, unless you really got to know him, and then whether or not you're going to get stabbed in the back or not. Shakespeare ring a bell, Caesar? Et tu, Brutus? So yeah, they're fishing. They're grifting. They're getting their hooks into us. And they're getting hooks into all these young people. They think, now I've got them. We'll make money off of these poor bastards. Make us rich. Worse off. Enslaved. One way or another. Speaking of enslavement, what do they know about addiction except how to use it and how to utilize it and how to throw it off? How to put these people off their game, off their You know, had to screw it around with her sense of security or knowledge. No, you've been lied to. Don't you understand? You've been lied to. They're indicting me. You must save me. All these guys, when I get into office, will be riding to hell. I'll be a dictator for one day. Things have connections sometimes. And it scares me every time I keep looking at and hearing this stuff. That got connections to one thing, to another thing, to another thing. Yeah, they might as well call me paranoid and put me into a damn padded cell. Maybe it's going to be the safest place around. I just won't know if I'm going to get poisoned by medication or poisoned by food. But that means I got to hide away from everything. Addiction comes in many forms, including exercise. Doing things in moderation is one thing, but I've heard people overdoing it so much that they even tried killing themselves one way or another. You keep forgetting hearing about those stories too. Even the most athletic people out there who kept promoting athleticism all the time would have heart attacks. And I talk as an expert about these things. I'm steps away or a step away from slipping on a banana peel and then cracking my skull open and then I'm dead. Worse off, stroking out, heart attack city, maybe having something falling on my head, maybe having an earthquake. I'm not screaming, I'm going to live once. I'm just trying to survive each minute sometimes. Trying to take some kind of pleasure, but also trying just to deal with life on its own terms. So I'm trying not to stress as much. But I know my doctor's going to tell me what the things I'm going to be hearing about and what they want to do for me, or what I should be doing for myself. And yes, I acknowledge it. And yes, I'd like to do it. Have I? Said I'd like to. I haven't done it yet. But do I go on social media and look for women? Nope. Because I'm always putting my kind of boyish face on there instead of this ugly mug of mine. Is that scary enough for people? You want to date an ugly mug like me? Be my guest. Doesn't mean I'm going to be dating you. I'm staying away. I'm abstaining. I'm going to die solo. My family line dies with me. My choice, my decision. Dumbest damn decision. I know my mother's going to be haunting me for the rest of my eternity. But I don't trust what's going on these days. I don't trust anybody else trying to grift like crazy. So, yeah, I got to be careful. I even had some of the older generation try to grift me like crazy. A friend of mine, one time when I was working at an insurance company in the call center, she got the mandatory retirement, but she got it earlier than what she expected and got screwed over that one. Several years later, I'm getting a text message from her, and she's offering me a deal of a lifetime. And I know it was a scam. Oh no, send this guy a few extra bucks over here, and then you get this money over here. It's guaranteed. I promise it. I swear by it. I heard the I. I didn't see the results. I didn't get any information about the damn results. I heard all the damn promises coming out from a friend of mine's mouth. So yeah, even friends have a way of screwing things over left and right. I see my doctor. I'm going to tell him about the dry skin I'm getting these days. Probably need some Eucerin for it. Well, is it going to help me out with concerning about a video on how to beat addiction? We've been in 12-step too damn long. We ought to know better than that shit. We're not experts. We're survivors. We're dealing with it. There is no experts. Even Bill W. and Dr. Bob weren't experts in the damn thing, but they had pretty good sound advice from other people who had different principles that actually managed to work. As long as we follow the principles, we're survivors at it. Turn into old timers. But here's the thing: us old timers even have to realize it just is a day at a time, and we're either one drink or one hit away, or sometimes half, from getting screwed up. I can't tell you how many people I've seen in meeting halls that had years of sobriety and being clean. And then the next day they're crawling in because they had that slip. They started out with day one all over again, and they lost the years of sobriety and being clean. There's no such thing as experts in this one. We ought to know better than that one. In my videos, I think I come across as I'm an expert at death. Let's see. In my own personal experience, I'm going to say this one here. I started as an amateur, 4 years old. How the hell was I supposed to understand it, deal with it? I couldn't even deal with the ministers, anything, how to deal with death, how to deal with being resurrected, because they didn't have the information with them except on the Bible, and that's about it. Anything else, forget it. They didn't go through it. They didn't have what I was looking for, their perspective of them going through it and coming back from the dead. Sorry. So that's why I couldn't relate with them. And I'm still dealing with it on a day-by-day basis on how to deal with grieving and mourning. I'm not an expert on anybody else's. I'm only trying to still learn about mine day by day. So there is no expert in this situation here. Much less the fact if I happen to start putting myself as an expert of this situation over here, I'm going to be considering like one of those kind of grifters out there looking to score on people. And I'm not looking for that one either. I hope that in my videos I hadn't come across as a guru of anything. I remember some of my earlier videos that I said I'm not a guru of anything. I don't have any letter academia. I'm nothing on that one. I'm just saying from my own personal experience. I need to say more on that one there. If the young people are going through this route, I don't know if there is a way to circumnavigate it, if we should circumnavigate it, or what. Yes, we would like for them to understand the sage wisdom of the elders. Problem is, did we do the same thing as young kids to our own elders? Or did we think we knew better? Problem is, times keep changing left and right. Ours is changing faster and faster than what we realize right now. With the event of our technology happening and the increasing abundance of it and our total reliance on it, our social skills are going hell in a handbasket as far as our old man looking at it kind of viewpoint there. So it's no wonder the elders, our elders, have a problem dealing with our generation, and our generation is having misunderstandings with the younger generation who've got this new world of theirs. And they're going to have to figure it all out on how to deal with these relationships. They didn't want to come across this Cro-Magnon and start beating the crap out of ladies at this point over here and say, I got me a woman. I'm going to do this to her. And then I'm going to drag her to my cave. Is that how it's being done these days? Is that what they're teaching them? Being how to be a caveman? Cro-Magnon? I mean, is that the example that's being represented? Good Lord. No wonder they're screwed up in the heads. No wonder we're having issues trying to relate with these people. Maybe they have reverted. They're technologically sophisticated back into the caveman. I relate more and more with Rip Van Winkle sometimes. I really knew the gist of the damn thing, but I wish I read this story entirely. I need to download Washington Irving. I kept saying about the younger generation being dependent upon technology. Well, the older people are slowly coming across to that one, which reminds me, where's that book? Oh, At World's End. Was that it? At World's End? I gotta see something. Ah, shut up. Hey, City at World's End. That was it. That's it. Okay. I know that story too damn well. Maybe sometimes a little bit more than I can understand. Okay. Alexander Hamilton uh, wrote this book. Was it Hamilton? Please tell me. Was it Hamilton? No, that wasn't it. Come on. Edmund Hamilton. I know there's a Hamilton in there somewhere. Okay. This book's available either on market or by download if you happen to go to archive.com. Okay, archive.org, actually. Or try to find, what was that, Project, oh, frack. Oh, hold on. I'm just going to type it in there, PDF. Okay, archive.org. Best bet to get the book that way. And Goodreads. Well, it's not Gutenberg. Okay, it's not Gutenberg.com. It's not there. It's not on our Project Gutenberg. So archive.org. I already got the book. Fascinating. I read the damn thing all throughout my lifetime. Reread it. I loved the damn book. I keep understanding more and more about what Edmund was trying to teach us. It's about 1950s, or actually probably 1950s or 60s, when they had the actually H-bomb going on. Super H-bombs. World busters. In the story, in this town somewhere in the Midwest called Middleton, or Middletown, however you want to pronounce it. They had this government research place right in the middle of the town. Government secrecy agency or something like that. They deal with nuclear secrets and stuff. Right above the town, there was a super hydrogen bomb that exploded. And for an instant, through the town, through a time warp, into the future, where millions of years later, the world is dead. Barely any oxygen, barely plant life or any kind of animal life, if any, scurrying creatures and little rodents and stuff. But that's about it, scrambling for a living. And you see this town surrounded by desolation. And in this town, they're fighting for survival with limited resources they have to find this futuristic place. This domed place that kept trapped earth heat into it just to keep it alive. The civilization so advanced that they dug into the earth's core to keep the city or any other cities like it alive. But the thing of it is, people in it died or went off to the stars. People in Middletown found a radio and started broadcasting into the stars. And the thing is, we got it torn apart into this because we have folks who wanted the old things, who was raised up under the old ways, wanted to maintain that level that they actually lived under, that level of comfort, security, safety, knowledge. But being put into the future threw them all off. They were so numb, they were still trying to deal with relocating from an old town to their new town. In the old town, they would still have to use up supplies to keep the town running, maybe for another month if they lasted long enough with the fuel. that supplied electricity, water, substance. They had to ration food. They could learn how to grow new food in the new cities, learn new things. The youth were taken to it, but the older generation wanted to stay back in the old town. They couldn't. So, temporarily, they lived under the new town. Aliens came down from space, uh, told them that they had to leave because the planet wasn't sustaining life. They wanted to, Middleton wanted to argue about it. The representative they had was a scientist, and he had to learn the language of these aliens who helped get this new town working for the old folks to survive in there temporarily until a decision was made whether or not to relocate this place or not. And then the lead scientist was young enough. It's like in his early to middle 30s. So he had a PhD. He's part of the government, part of stuff. His girlfriend was a little bit younger, but raised under the old ways. Keniston was the name of the guy, John Keniston. So he travels to the stars to make the plea to the galactic council out there to keep his planet alive, keep his town alive. But they decided that they weren't going to do it. The planet was just too dead for them, and there's no way to keep sustaining life for it. Even if they had made him comfortable enough, but it just wouldn't last. But there was a technique discussed by a group of renegades of sorts. And the renegades decided to make the planet a test case. So to keep the other older planets that had the same situations more habitable, because some of the older guards still wanted to go back home to familiarity. The experiment worked, and the older folks of Middletown went back to their town to live, to try to keep up with their old ways. The new people in the town, well, they're looking for the future. But it is a deep book to read. I just simplified it a bit. How we're looking at the kids today and what they're dealing with technology and what we've given them decades ago and what they're dealing with it and new technology is coming out. I feel like I'm in the same situation as the old folks in the old Middleton town itself, looking at the new and not quite sure about it. The older I get, the more I want the same. Case in point, Daryl. Past few years, I've been using up whatever I had left for savings to purchase stuff from the past. Meaning that a long time ago, I actually had a collection of pins. I'm trying to rebuild it all over again, somewhat. It's difficult, but if they offer it up on eBay, I'm snatching it because I want my old life back. I know it can't be that way, but I'm like the town of Middleton is still split in half. I like the new, but the older I get, the more I'm hungering for stability, and my own stability is seeing my family gone. So I have to struggle with what is. And if you notice the change of the lights, yeah, yeah. I've been trying to do some rearranging in this place. I wanted to keep something alive. I wanted to keep something in continuity and try to keep that up. The youth want change. They wanted what we had. Imagination. Drive. We're losing steam here, pal. Comes down for dating? I wouldn't even know what dating was. Did I have any lady friends when I was growing up? Yeah. But they all had relationships afterwards. But we tried to keep in touch. I was the only knockoff bachelor there. I was too afraid of everything and just kept them at arm's distance to a point. But they're still, I still consider them as family somewhat. There's nothing wrong with family, Daryl. Different viewpoints, different perspectives. But dealing with what we're dealing with, the kids looking at this stuff. Okay, reverting back to the biblical story I was trying to tell you about when Christ was warning people. I think it was on the Sermon of the Hill, um, somewhere in there. He was telling them about beware of false prophets. We've got them all around us, grifting like crazy. We got the wolves knocking off the sheep left and right. I don't know. Maybe it is our job to be shepherds for these assholes. I wish I knew. Anyway, I'll talk at you later in the morning when I'm maybe half asleep.